Hello. I gotta say, I am super stoked to be here 2 minutes early. The last two live sessions had a bit of technical difficulty. So that was pretty stressful. So to be here a little bit early is fantastic. Less stressful. All right, go ahead and get on your bike. Make sure you have a towel. I'm using my phone for an official timer. So another minute before we get started. If you're ready to go, you can start cycling. Happy Wednesday. If you're like me and you're working from home or not working from home, it's like a glimpse into retirement. I have to remind myself every day what day it is. Last week on Monday, I swore it was Wednesday. So something to look forward to in retirement, maybe. I think I'm gonna have to come up with a system, like a calendar that I X out every day and look at, like a physical paper calendar. Gotta have a way to keep yourself on track, right? All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna hit start. That'll be our official time. So real quick, let's just do a little inventory of our riding position. Have a nice, if your shoulders are in your ears, go ahead and elongate your spine, draw your belly button in slightly, push your glutes, push your butt into your seat. Wiggle your fingertips, a little bit of flex in the elbows, nice and relaxed. Always try to eliminate any bouncing that you have going on. If you're all over the bike like that, try to be more still in your upper body and strong in your legs. Okay, today's workout is going to be 10-minute warm-up. We're a minute in. The total workout is 40 minutes. So if you want to elongate it and you're doing it live, my recommendation is when we finish the main set to either do a fifth, because we're doing four sets in the main set. So do a fifth. Each block is 5 minutes long. So that would make your ride 45 minutes. You could also throw in 5 to 10 minutes of aerobic work, either after a fifth set or after the fourth set. So if you did 5-minute block, 10 minutes aerobic, that'd add 15 minutes. You could do another 5 minutes of cool down, and you're looking at an hour. If you're watching this on Tape Delay, on the link, and you want to go longer than 40 minutes, feel free to add 5 minutes of aerobic work after the warm-up before we get into the main set, and maybe 5 to 10 minutes of aerobic work at the end of the main set. Additionally, you could also throw in an extra, so do 5 sets. Okay, so 10-minute warm-up. Then we're going to go into our 5 sets of 30 seconds with higher cadence, 30 seconds easy. So that's 15 minutes. The main set's 20 minutes. Main set is a great one actually to do out on the road someday. So basically, look at it like this. It's 4 5-minute blocks. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier instead of trying to remember how many minutes on, how many minutes off. So start with the fact that it's 4 5-minute blocks. Each block is separated into 3 minutes, what I'm going to call on, and 2 minutes off. So the off is recovery. You want to pedal easy, have very light resistance in your pedals, get your cadence up. And then your 3 minutes on is your work period. So you can choose your intensity. If you want it to be a harder workout, say you're training for an Olympic distance triathlon or a sprint distance triathlon, I would raise the intensity. if you're training for a half Ironman or an Ironman, I would lower the intensity, but I would also probably lengthen the time that's on. So maybe it would be 10-minute blocks, 7 minutes on, 3 minutes off for an Ironman or half Ironman to start with, eventually getting up to 20 minutes on and 5 or 10 minutes off. But anyway, back to today's workout. So the intensity that we're looking for today is above our aerobic zone and up to 85%. So if you have a power meter, between 75 and 85% of your FTP. So 85% is sort of the higher end for a really fit athlete doing a half Ironman race. 75% would be at the low end of that. So if you're doing a half Ironman and your goal is to finish, you want to be more around 75%. You want it to feel maybe just slightly uncomfortable. As you're more fit, you can take it up to where it feels kind of toggling that line between uncomfortable and starting to get hard. If you're doing an Olympic distance race and you say, hey, my goal is just to finish, then you probably want to be, say, 85% of FTP, so right in that uncomfortable range, but not a hard range. If you're really racing the Olympic distance, then you're going to want to be above uncomfortable, more into that hard range, and maybe toggle back and forth between the two, go a little harder on the hills, things like that. Of course, all the time, you want to take these and put them into practice in your brick workouts. So you want to ride in your brick workouts, how you're going to ride in the race, because what you really want to find out is how you run afterwards. And if your runs and your brick workouts are terrible, then you're probably biking too hard. So you can pay attention to, that perceived exertion in those workouts on your bike, how that impacts your run. Again, if you have metrics like heart rate or watts, you can use that, really start to dial in. Say, hey, on this brick workout, I rode an average of 190 watts and my run was terrible. Well, repeat the workout and ride at 180 watts and see how your run is. Maybe your run feels too fresh. So repeat it again, ride at 184. Same course. Try to, in general, if you can pick courses that mimic your race, that's great. It's never entirely possible unless you're able to actually ride the true race. But, you can simulate it. If it's a flat course, choose a flatter training course, hillier training course, etc. All right, so we're 7 minutes in. Go ahead and switch to one gear harder. That'll bring up your workload. One of the questions that I hopefully will not forget to ask at the end, so I'm going to ask it now, and maybe ask it again, is I really am curious, those of you that are doing this either live or via the link, what is the length of a class you prefer? Is it 40 minutes? Is it 45 minutes? Is it an hour? Is it longer? Is it shorter? So next week, starting at 7 a.m. Pacific time, both Monday and Wednesday. Monday is higher intensity, 40 minutes. Wednesday is like today's ride, 45 minutes. So I was going to keep adding 5 minutes a week, but as you can see, in 3 weeks, we'll be up to an hour workout. So I can come up with ideas for people who maybe the workout's an hour, but you want to go 45 minutes, just like I'm giving you ideas how to extend this one. So that's a possibility too, but I'm definitely very curious to know from your perspective, what is the length of time you prefer to do a bike workout during the week, knowing that it's fitting into your work schedule. Some of you with kids might be fitting into your work schedule, parenting schedule. You're now becoming a teacher / daycare parent / everything else, right? A new normal. All right, one more minute, and then we'll go into the 5 by 30 seconds. So this workout be a little different than Monday in that the intensity is lower. So in a lot of ways, it's easier in that regard. We're doing, the total work is 12 minutes. So I think last week, total work was around, almost 9 minutes of the really hard stuff, and then 3 minutes of this. So kind of comparable in terms of work, but laid out differently. So we'll see how this one feels. Last one was pretty tough for me. But it all depends on the intensity you put into it. All right, 5 seconds. We're going to go 30 seconds high cadence, maybe switch to one gear easier. Here we go. If you have cadence, look at your cadence. Get it up above 95, above 100 is great. Again, try to minimize that bounce. If you need to, you can go to one gear harder. Still keep the cadence up. So find the gear that allows you some resistance. I think I want some resistance on the pedals, but not so hard you can't turn it over. Okay, 30 seconds easy. Number one. All right, going in 12 seconds. Think about what gear you want to be in. And here we go, number two. All right, 30 seconds easy. So I just looked down at my Garmin and I had no heart rate. I'm like, dang. And then I realized sometimes when I don't have a heart rate, it's because it's not picking it up. And I'll have to just, search for it, but no heart rate monitor. So a great reminder of why it's important to use perceived exertion. So if all I had to go on was my heart rate, that'd be hosed. Maybe that'd be a good thing because it'd force me to perceived exertion. Here we go, number three. Get the cadence up. So my setup routine in the morning, I've got to make sure I got my mic, I got a light over here, computer's charged up, CompuTrainer's working, fans on, and today I clearly forgot my heart rate monitor. I'm really kind of bummed about it because I just like to see the numbers and see where I'm at. All right, that's number three. 30 seconds easy. But I do have watts on here and I have my perceived exertion, so. But that can happen. It can happen in a race. One time in a race, my power meter just wouldn't work. I don't know why, but I spent like 10 minutes fussing with it. And then I just had to abandon it, go by perceived exertion. So here we go, number four. Get the cadence up, let's go. All right. 30 seconds easy. That's number 4. 1 left. Then we're going to jump into the 5-minute blocks. 3 minutes at between slightly uncomfortable and uncomfortable. You can play around with that range for yourself. If you want a harder workout, go right to uncomfortable and hold it there. If it gets to be hard, back it off a little bit. Here we go, number 5. And 30 seconds easy. All right, you guys ready? Maybe start in 1 gear easier so you can get your cadence up. Here we go, 3 minutes. And then you can start shifting to a little bit harder gear. You can keep shifting until you find that spot that starts to feel uncomfortable. You should definitely feel tension in the legs. It should be kind of this mental, there's a term called always be pushing, where if you're not feeling your legs, feeling yourself, reminding yourself, keep the tempo up, keep driving. It's that place where the brain says, hey, why don't you go a little easier, right? It's that place. But it's not hard, it's not painful. So you can see where it gets hard compared to last week. It's going longer. Going 3 minutes versus 1.5 is hard in a different way. Not quite as intense and sharp. But when you get up to that range, whatever you're working in, now we're 210 in, got another 50 seconds. You can feel it start to work, right? So always want to train at different intensities. I don't always just want to train at the same intensity. Which is why I vary these workouts between something more higher intensity, 100%, maybe more of your FTP, and then something lower. And then you also want to do a good amount of aerobic work. That's where the long bike rides outside are great. Keep it at a conversational pace. All right, 10 seconds. Nice job. 2 minutes easy. Find an easy gear. Let your legs spin out. Should be very little tension in your legs. Towel off. Hydrate. Whew. All right, 3 more. Some of you will be watching this who don't know, but this just like the last 2 days for a small group of friends, I threw out a challenge the weekend of May 16th to do a run, bike, run workout. Most of the country is still kind of chilly to swim outdoors, so most pools are closed. Different distances. Generally, it's a shorter distance, 2-mile bike ride, 2-mile run, 15-mile bike ride, 2-mile run. And then from there, 2 more distances, bump up the run 1 mile, bump up the bike 10 miles. So we got 2, 15, 2. We got 3, 25, 3. It's kind of like an Olympic distance triathlon. And then we're going to go 4, 35, 4. So I'm putting together a training schedule that's delivered through Training Peaks. It's totally free. It's just kind of to provide motivation, camaraderie. So if you also run and you want to jump into that group, just reach out to me. You can throw a comment in the comments. You can email me, and I'll get you joined up in the group, load the training schedule for you in Training Peaks, and away we go. If you're new to Training Peaks, then a couple things I'll tell you about in the next cool down because we're going in 10 seconds. I got to save my breath. All right, so find your gear, something kind of easy. Here we go, 3 minutes. So bring that cadence up, and then you can start switching gears until you're into that uncomfortable range. So moderately hard is another word I'd use. And there's a space between moderately hard and hard. So sometimes they call it moderately hard plus a little bit harder than moderately hard. Right in that range, right in that uncomfortable range. I'm going to turn my music off. Man, that sucks. All right, so if you had any metrics from last time, try to match those or best them. So for me, got off to a slow start. And my watts are down, a minute in. Now I'm going to go to a harder gear, work a bit harder. Just for a short period to get that average up. I think I was about 184, which is about 80% of my FTP. Right now I'm at 160. Because I was fiddling with my music. So I got to pay the price. Here we go. This is very similar actually to racing a lot of times. You know, there's a hill or something, and so you go above your prescribed race effort just temporarily, you know, and then you recover. So that's just kind of what happens a lot because no course is perfectly flat. All right, so I'm back up to my average power. I'm going to switch to an easier gear. Try to recover a little bit. 45 seconds. All right, 2 minutes easy. Whew. Note to self, get off to a faster start. Okay, So talking about Training Peaks, this really applies to 6Cycle too, if you haven't already figured this out. Both platforms, highly recommend if you have a Garmin or there's some other app you use to record your workouts. Almost all of them, you can set up what's called auto upload. So for example, when I save my Garmin file, it goes to Garmin Connect. But I have auto upload set up that Garmin will automatically transfer that data to Training Peaks and 6Cycle. So that way, if you're following this program that I am setting up for this Run Bike Run, which by the way will repeat 5 weeks later. So it's a way to give yourself something to focus on in the next 5 weeks, and then something to strive for to beat your previous time, right? A lot of times we got to be competitive against ourselves. So you can look at the training schedule, and then you don't have to enter the workouts if you have, say, a Garmin and you have auto upload. It'll just take care of that for you. So it's a fantastic feature. The other thing, if you're new to either platform, is they both have good phone apps. So you put the app on your phone, you can record workouts, but primarily people will use it to see what's coming up in the schedule. So in this little 5-week thing, I have structured run workouts, bike workouts, which will be Monday, Wednesday, and then a bike workout on the weekend. All right, we're halfway through our main set. Got 5 seconds, so get some water if you want. Here we go. Number 3, 3 minutes. All right, I'm gonna get some water. I need motivation. I'm turning up my music. One good way, if you're toggling that line between uncomfortable and moderately hard plus, uncomfortable, moving up into hard, it's just like right now I switched to an easier gear. I'm still at that level, but one gear easier brings it down a notch. So I have a slight recovery, even though I'm still on that border. And then once I feel good, one gear harder. Now I'm just maybe slightly over that line of uncomfortableness. All right, 2:15, 45 seconds left. Relax your shoulders, tighten your core, feel your fingers. Here we go. And 2 minutes, easy. Nice job. Whew. Find an easy gear. Spin it out. One more. Unless you want to ride an hour and you're doing this live and you want to pause it, or you want to throw in a fifth set, you can. If you want to throw in 5, 10, 15 minutes aerobically, which is conversational pace, moderate perceived exertion. Sometimes I like to just stretch my back and my legs on a recovery. So you might do that if you feel like you need it. Definitely a great time to get hydrated. All right, for most of us, last one. So that was getting pretty challenging for me, I must say. So like I said, it's for me anyway, I speak for myself, it's a different kind of toughness than that on Monday, where the intensity was harder, but it got over quicker. So sometimes maybe it's just a matter of what you prefer. I think I prefer riding more in this, what's called the tempo riding. All right, coming up 12 seconds, 3 minutes. If it's your last one, make it a good one. All right, here we go. If you have metrics, have a little competition with yourself. Try to best those. If you saw your average cadence was 85, get it to 86. At the same time, if your average heart rate was 143, I'm just pulling numbers out that are kind of my numbers. You know, maybe try to go 145 average heart rate. My power has been 184, 186, so I'm gonna challenge myself to go 190 and keep my cadence up. That's the tricky part. You can definitely push a lot more power with a much lower cadence. So I'm gonna hit 90 cadence, and then we'll see if I can hit 190 watts. A minute in. Here's the deal. If you want to ride faster outside, you do it by getting in the big chain ring, turning over your pedals at a higher cadence, say around 90. The more you can turn your pedals at 90 and choose a harder gear, your speed will go way up. Two minutes. It's a good look I have going on. All right, 5 seconds. Whew. All right, 2 minutes easy. Whew. I barely did it. For me, the challenge typically is my cadence will drop. So I had to work really hard keeping the turnover, keeping the cadence up. Man, that's tough. I like these buffs because generally I can find a dry spot to put on my head. There's a lot of real estate to work with on the buff, moving around. Whew. Hopefully you're sweating. I'm sweating. I suppose if you're not sweating and you're not breathing hard, then next time you can go up the cadence, or up the intensity. Choose harder gears. Whew. I'll tell you one thing. I'm kind of surprised, like when I do these, I'd be curious to see if you felt the same thing, but I feel like the time goes by faster. Some of that is, when you have a structured workout, maybe you just get on the trainer and you ride for 40 minutes, just same pace, without anything to break it up. I think it's just the worst. So if you can create chunks of time, the ride can go by quicker. Same thing for outside, really. If you give yourself little specific blocks of time with prescribed intensity, it can be a really fun way to ride outside by yourself. All right, so 5 minutes cool down, unless you're going longer and you're throwing in a fifth set, throwing in some aerobic work, make it your own. So I did remember, I'm going to ask it again. If you can, put a little comment in, send me a note. I'm looking for feedback on what is your ideal bike ride time on a Monday and a Wednesday. Is it 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 52 minutes, right? Whatever. I just like to know, it's good to know your customer, know your audience. What are you looking for? I get a great workout from doing these, but I could do them and not do them on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Sorry, YouTube. I think you guys are owned by the same people. Maybe not. YouTube might be owned by Google. Hard to tell anymore. Like this morning, I was ready a little bit early, and I just would have started at 8:37 instead of 9. But, I definitely, if people are finding value in these workouts, then that's motivating for me to keep going. So just appreciate it if you just give me some feedback in any way. Hopefully the sound's good. If there's sound issues, let me know. I suppose maybe one day I should watch one of these back. So if you've ever watched yourself on video, it can be kind of painful. Maybe that's a good exercise, working on non-self-judgment. I don't know. So I see a couple comments, but I'll read them when I get off since my eyes are getting older. All right, nice spin out. Got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. For those of you in Seattle, enjoy the sunshine. I feel like it's the first consecutive days of sunshine I've seen since October. So that feels really good. I got outside for a ride yesterday. It was still cold in the shade, but it was great when you got into the sunshine. Here's a quick tip if you guys are new to cycling. And a lot of people that are new to cycling are really resistant to changing the front, typically your left side chainring. Bigger chainring, harder to pedal, you go faster. Smaller chainring, easier to pedal, go slower, right? And the reason why they're not so comfortable changing the front chainring is because when you change from one to the other, that's a big jump in gearing. And so what you need to do is you need to make a correction on your right side on the rear derailleur at the same time, either slightly before or slightly after. So right now I'm in a really easy gear. If I go to the big chainring, my legs slow down a lot, right? Because that was a big jump. You can even looking at my legs, you can see the cadence. So if I know I'm going to go into the big chainring and it's going to get harder, I might just go right side, 1-2 clicks, and then left side. And now you can see it's more of a steady jump. I can do the same way. I can go big chainring first. See my legs spinning out of control. So now I'm going 3 clicks harder on the right to get my cadence under control. So there's always a shift of your rear derailleur, your right side, in conjunction with your front derailleur. It can happen before, it can happen after, it kind of maybe might depend on how much thought you put into it. If you've ever been riding along and shifted really quick, and all of a sudden, your legs just start spinning out of control, that's a great example. Or if you shifted and all of a sudden you can't turn the pedals over, that's because you need to make some micro adjustments. So we're at our 40 minutes. If you want to stop, go ahead and stop. Just want to finish this thought. I like to think about, if you go back to like 8th grade science, your front derailleur is your macro adjustment on a microscope, right? It kind of gets you in range. Your rear derailleur is your micro adjustment. So this is your fine tuning, right? You're kind of where you're at, but maybe you just want to fine tune it. You want to finesse it. You want to go here on a bike ride. It's a little bit hard. One gear easier, now it drops the intensity. Like I said before, you're kind of going back and forth with that. So play around with that if you're having issues or have been afraid to change your front derailleur. That's a quick tip for that. All right, that's it. I'm done. Thanks so much for the comments, and I'll see you guys Monday, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Have a great day.